Good day, everybody. Welcome to episode 41 of the Fan Film Podcast. This is April 4th.
That's Tootalu Films.
Yeah.
Tootalu?
Yes, Tootalu Films.
Okay.
Works for me. It's fun to say. It is.
Tootalu. And he made a Watchmen fan film, and that is called Fearful Symmetry.
Yes.
And that is correct? I pronounced that correct, right, Will?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Definitely an interesting film. Split up into little 9-minute bites. Yeah. So you got to kind of piece them together and check it out. Yeah, I was gonna put it all at the same time, but YouTube's little constraints. Yeah, exactly. What's the running time on that actually, all combined? Do you know? 50 something, 54, I think. Almost. You're up there with the guy. Have you seen the guy who did Rorschach? I'm sorry. There's another guy who did a Rorschach movie, and it's almost feature length. It's like probably around the same time, like 50 minutes. Oh yeah. Yeah, so he's up there with you. Oh yeah. And then there's the other guys who did like 5-10 minutes. Oh yeah. All kinds of stuff. I think I may have seen that one actually. What's that? I may have seen that. Really? Yeah. Was it the one with you see like Ozymandias and you see his costume and you see Night Owl? He's actually wearing like the costume. The guy's chubby. Yeah, he's like yeah. He's like ultra chubby. He's a little bit out of shape. Yeah, he's very out of shape. Yes. I mean, we all knew Dan's going to be kind of like big, but not that big. It's a little crazy. In the movie, he kind of had a fat ass too. So. Yeah, that's the thing. He was kind of in shape, and then had that J-Lo booty. Yeah, exactly. And that's those tights. For the girls, I guess. I don't know. And that's right. We keep it mature here. It's the first conversation I'm having with our new guest here. We're talking about asses and booty, fat superheroes.
Tell us about
Tootalu
Films and how you got into Tootalu Films and kind of a little bit about your film background. Alrighty.
Well, it started basically when I was younger. I'm a huge comic book nerd, and I got started with my parents gave me they got a new camera. So when I was a little kid, I got their old VHS camera. And, they're like, go ahead and just shoot some stuff if you want, you have fun. Here's a blank, tape. And I just went out and I started making little movies with my toys, little superhero movies, just me acting out my figures. And then, I don't know, I loved the cartoons, I got into comic books and the movies. And I think it all really hit home once I saw the first X-Men movie when I was like in 5th or 6th grade. And I think that just made me want to become a director after seeing that. And since then, my friend, I had another friend who's a big comic book fan, and we would always get together every weekend, just make random little, the Hulk meets, Superman, or right. Lex Luthor meets Deadpool, just random stuff like that. And
you were in 5th and 6th grade when the first X-Men movie came out?
I was just going to say, I feel really old.
Jesus H. Christ. Excuse me, let me grab my walker.
Pardon me. And then from that, I just saw more movies, and I just I knew that's what I wanted to do, become a filmmaker. And now I've made I made quite a bit of movies, and I won my high school film festival a year ago, and I'm at my Illinois Central College right now, my freshman year, and I just entered another film in their film festival, and that's in about a month. I think in a month I'll find out who won that.
Now, are these separate films, or is this the Watchmen film?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. These are separate films.
That's cool. No.
Yeah. And then I just got accepted to Columbia College in Chicago.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you very much. That's been my dream school for the longest time, and cool. So I got it there. I'm really stoked, and so I'm going there next year. And that's pretty much where we are. And
so
do you have any other fan films under your belt besides Watchmen? Or are you just talking about like those old ones that were just kind of like just this fool around projects? Do you have anything else kind of serious or? Well, the only as
far as fan films go, I mean, like, I think, I'm not sure if you guys have seen them or not, but I've made a bunch of films that are just like actual like original stories, But yeah, as fan films, Fearful Symmetry is pretty much my only actual fan film. But I've made like like you said, a bunch of movies when I was younger, those ones. And I'm actually developing with my friend who's a really good writer. I'm kind of like a mini series, like a Batman mini series. And I'm going to call it Gotham. And it's going to be it's going to take the whole Batman story into a different way. Batman's not going to be the main character. He's going to be almost like a myth or a legend in the city of Gotham. And when we do see Batman, or if we see Batman, who we think it is, it's not going to be like, Bruce Wayne constantly, Batman the main story. It's going to be mostly focused on like Harvey Dent and Gordon and Edward Nygma's like this big powerful businessman, and Willie. Well, since the Joker doesn't have a real name, we're calling him Willie Knight, and he's like a big mobster and stuff like that. And it's going to kind of just show like if Batman, what Batman would be like if he was more just like urban legend,
Kind of like what was that show, The Birds of Prey? There, he was kind of like the backdrop.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Yep. You saw a little glimpse of him in the first episode with the Joker.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. You saw Batgirl, and kind of dragged you into everything.
I love that show.
Yeah, so do I.
I was going to say, it's actually kind of like a good segue, because you're talking about how you're trying to kind of take the Batman thing and kind of flip it around a little and make it your own vessel. And I was going to say, it's in the Fearful Symmetry, you kind of take the whole Watchmen story, you kind of roll with the story, but at the same time, you make little changes here and there, I noticed. Like, you added your own kind of little, additions to the story.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? Like, what made you want to kind of like add your own thing to it?
Yeah. Actually, I've had a lot of people, ask me about, like, almost kind of bitch at me about it, like, hey, why you call it, there's a Watchmen movie where this isn't even Watchmen. And
not the story.
Yeah, people, just like really angry people about it. And what I always try to say is,
the hardcore fanboys.
Exactly. Which I'm very much of as well. But what I make sure I always say is, like, this is definitely a fan film, but what it is my own interpretation on Watchmen.
There you go.
Because how it all kind of started was when I first read Watchmen about 4 or 5 years ago. Must have maybe 5 years ago. I was, just like anybody else was when they first read it, I was just blown away by just this incredible book. And I think, Rorschach was the one who really hit me the most, just as my absolute favorite fictional character of all time. And from that, it inspired me to write a movie. I had to make a movie about something kind of like this. So here I am. I'm writing this script, and it's about, like, I had this character who's the Angel of Death. That's his name. That's like his vigilante name. And it was kind of like just like a detective story about this group of superheroes. Used to be superheroes, but the government has come in and put this anti-vigilante act, and they outlawed superheroes, and there's like government conspiracies going on, and there was the main characters, like there's the Rorschach character, who was basically the Angel of Death. That was his character's name. He was gonna be like the Rorschach, taking place at Rorschach kind of. He was like he drove the movie kind of like Rorschach does with the book. And then I had this character, this superhero named the Prince, and he was like the Ozymandias, basically, who retired first. But he went basically, like, if you've watched Fearful Symmetry, which you guys haven't, I think. It's basically that story, and like how I turned Ozymandias around into a different character, kind of, and I changed the plot, quite a bit. Basically, that's what I did with this. But what I was doing was, as I read the script over and over again, I was kind of getting ready to shoot it, and I actually did shoot some scenes from it. I noticed that I was basically just ripping off Watchmen in every way.
Yeah,
and I knew only like renaming characters, and I knew people would be like, "Wow, you just blatantly ripped off Watchmen," And so I guess I just realized, what, I might as well just change their names back to who they are.
Right.
Why pretend that it's not this when it actually is? So I changed everyone back to Ozymandias, and I changed Angel of Death back to who it is, actually Rorschach, and I just kind of kept some direct scenes and direct things from the book, and then I as you said earlier, I took a lot of liberties and changed a lot of stuff.
I was talking to Chris earlier, and he actually kind of mentioned that It reminds him kind of Elseworlds a little bit, you know, because
Right.
you got some things that happen that are just a little bit out of the, the regular continuity, but at the same time, it's kind of like giving it its own direction, like something different. You know what I mean? It's taking those characters that you know and are familiar with, but instead of leading you down the same road, it's kind of taking you off onto these little side roads here and there. You know?
Yeah. Definitely, I definitely see that. Yeah.
Like you see things like, for example, it's kind of like a minor thing, but how the comedian was killed.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the same as the book. It's not the same as the opening of the movie or who's seen it or the opening of the graphic novel.
Mm-hmm.
Things are changed around a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's kind of, you could kind of swallow that with no problem because as you go down the line and watch the film a little more, other things are changed. So that kind of makes the beginning where the comedian is killed in a different way almost like acceptable and kind of like, oh, wow, this is something new. Like, this is a different spin on it. You know, this isn't just let's take Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons, work word for word, picture for picture. I mean, I'm not to say that that's bad. I've seen that done in fan films. Recently, I've seen a few Watchmen fan films that have done that word for word, more or less, and they've actually worked. So they translated nice on the film, and it's kind of like, a nice little transition there. But it's always refreshing for somebody to kind of take a story and just kind of be like, you know what? We all know that story already. So let me take that and just kind of like do my own thing with it, and we'll see what happens. Like kind of like Tim Burton taking Planet of the Apes. It's a horrible example because that movie sucked. But
Yeah, I like that movie.
we know what happens and all that stuff, but we're just kind of taking it in a different direction. So that's kind of cool. That's what I really liked about your films.
Oh, thank you.
To add on to that, you did it within your budget range. So you took what you could do, which a lot of fan film creators should take a note from that, and you made it your own. So you worked it into what you had available, and you wove it into something good.
Oh, thank you.
And then you can comment on that, and we'll shut up.
No. Actually, when you were talking about I had the comedian, get shot instead of thrown out a window. I did that for a reason. Namely, well, one of the reasons is because, like, I had one person actually, he asked me. I think this is actually over a YouTube comment, actually. Said, you had the comedian get shot instead of thrown out a window. That's not how it was in the book. And we're like, yeah, no shit. The reason I had that is because basically that was kind of a way of telling anyone who had read Watchmen before, of basically saying, okay, this is not Watchmen. This is not obviously your Watchmen. This is a different take.
This isn't the Watchmen, This is my own thing.
Yeah. And another reason, well, kind of taking, as you watch the movie, you'll see, is because I wanted to be more kind of like ambiguous as to who it was. Like, if someone shoots someone, like, that way it's kind of like, okay, who killed him? It was if I had shown this, super strength guy throw someone, it would have been like, oh, well, obviously it wasn't the little skinny guy, or obviously it wasn't Rorschach. Who could, it would have to be him. This way it was kind of like, oh, maybe it was, someone, because it's a gun. It's more.
It doesn't take much to kill somebody. A couple.
Exactly. Yeah.
Pounds per cubic inch on this trigger. I don't know how many it is exactly, but it doesn't take much.
Yeah.
Anybody could do it. Even little grannies.
Well, that's like Fanboy Will and I have discussed this before. It's just like Smallville or multiple of movies. The hardcore fanboys are just so inflexible as far as letting other filmmakers, be it fan film or Hollywood fan or Hollywood movies, to put in their own vision. Everything's got to be per script what the comic book was. Yeah. And no, that's not the fun of Smallville or, an Iron Man or, well, they don't bitch about the Dark Knight, but I'm sure a couple of them do. But you know what I'm saying. Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, that's really an example. Like Smallville, people are so pissed that they were changing the Doomsday thing around. And I personally, I think it's like a really good idea,
Me too, because it works. It's more believable than, okay, this gigantic monster came down, out of nowhere, and he's walking around among us, rather than, like, let's have a guy who just happens to be kind of like the Hulk, where he's got this, this thing he's holding in. And he's trying to, like, do it to save everybody, but he can't do it because it's such an overwhelmingly evil force. But, like I said, it's kind of like it's silly almost in a way, like this big gigantic monster, boom, 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 when he's walking around Metropolis, It wouldn't work. It just wouldn't work.
Exactly. Yeah. I think the comic book version of Doomsday. I'm sorry, but I think it's just kind of just a really lame character. He just comes out and he just kills Superman. It's all right. We've never seen you before. We don't know who you are. But where Smallville really does something, I think, really interesting and very, I don't know who wrote it, who's writing this season, but it's very well written. Just a really cool take on the character. I think it's better than the comic, personally.
Definitely. I mean, because, like, if you think about it, like, in a way, I kind of look at it kind of in a humorous way, like, Smallville is almost like a super-heroic soap opera.
Yeah.
You've got all this personal drama going on, but this small little group of characters kind of going off into other characters. So, it's kind of like introducing the Hulk to 90210. It's stupid. It's not going to work,
Yeah.
You got to kind of roll with what you got and just kind of add on to that, And I think that, like you said, I think they're doing a great job with the writing. They really picked it up.
Yeah, this season
last season wasn't as good, but they really picked up the ball like Heroes this season. Last season was kind of shitty, but they picked up the ball and they're rolling with it now,
Definitely.
So, same kind of idea.
Yeah.
I hate to do it, Will, but I agree with you.
Oh, man. See, once in a while it doesn't hurt to agree with me. That's right. Another thing, I noticed, besides it being kind of like an Elseworlds type of a situation, it's also visually very, very, very different. It's kind of got a green. It reminds me of kind of like a grainy black and white Rorschach test live, like it comes alive and it's actually acting the movie out. It's either the acid I did, or it's I don't know what it is, but it just feels almost like, I don't know if you did this intentionally, but it has the feeling of a Rorschach test the entire movie.
That's awesome. I'm really glad that you noticed that, 'cause that's exactly what I was going for.
Oh, cool. What'd you do that on?
There's my software. I have Pinnacle software, which, by the way, I wouldn't give to my worst enemy. It's a garbage.
Yeah, I have it too. I have Studio 9.0.
Oh, I hate Pinnacle.
It's a hate-love relationship.
Oh, yes. And I use the Threshold. There's a thing I call Threshold, and at first I was I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but with my original script I had, that I had like all the like the Angel of Death and all that blah blah stuff. I actually had originally started shooting at first that movie, and it wasn't since I started shooting it in color, just normal color. And I noticed like that, because I didn't have Rorschach in it, it was a different character. I saw this Threshold thing, like, oh, this is really awesome, it's black and white, and I started thinking like, I think that would just be such a good idea because for Fearful Symmetry, because it's going to have Rorschach, is my way of saying it is like how the whole movie has like the black and white effect for a couple of reasons. Like the Rorschach ink blot, it's like Rorschach. You're literally seeing the world through Rorschach's eyes because he sees the world as black and white, like as in like metaphorically. Because, good or bad, whatever.
Right. He says that in the film, actually.
Yes, he does.
It's kind of like I see things black and white.
Yeah. And also because of his mask, it's the black and white, the Rorschach mask. And I thought that all just looks. It looks. I think it looks really good. And when I had my actual reasons for it, like I thought it would just be perfect for the movie.
It looks really cool on film. It really does. Yeah, it really looks nice.
It also really helped out a lot too. Just for example, like there's a few scenes because I played the comedian in the movie. And, there's a couple of scenes where I don't have an actual mustache because I, for my job or whatever, whatever it was, like I couldn't grow a mustache, so I
have no mustaches here.
Yeah, well, exactly. So I had to paint one on, and I mean, in color that would look like absolute shit, but that was just another beauty of having that effect on my movie. I could no one's gonna be able to notice.
How about a bushy beard? They wouldn't allow that either, I guess.
No, yeah.
Mine is to say, I don't want the mustache. Can I grow a bushy beard?
No stubble, no nothing. That's that scene. Well, the scenes where I have a beard. I shot those with Yeah,
that's the Amish comedian segment that you left out.
The Amish comedian, yeah.
That's right. He solves all his problems by hitting you with a broom instead of a gun. He comes up and does
up
jobs
on the side building furniture or something.
That's why I hate
He's raising a barn.
Yeah.
Oh, darn it. He can't curse either, so, He likes to use the cuss words.
Who?
The comedian.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I think if he was Amish, he wouldn't be able to do it as much. It's kind of
exactly, yeah. Well, maybe that's why.
Oh, fiddlesticks. Speaking of which, I noticed in the film you kind of have like this cool little flashback to comedians' days and Night Owl's old days and the original Crime Busters.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit about kind of like found it interesting how you changed like the costumes, kind of like did your own thing with the costumes?
Yeah.
Was that kind of on purpose or?
Yes. Well, for example, with Ozymandias, His is a pretty drastic change. We went with Anthony Capp, who played Ozymandias. He makes costumes. Like, that's like a hobby of his, and he is very good with leather and all that. And so we decided for the Ozymandias character to go a different route and be kind of like a gladiator kind of style. There's a few scenes in the movie, and I was kind of afraid we didn't, people don't really get a good enough look at him. But he has like a full helmet. Did you guys get to see that at all?
I actually saw the helmet, especially in now that I mentioned the Crime Buster segment. You actually kind of see him on the side, and then at one point he takes off his helmet, and he kind of approaches the camera. But you do catch that whole helmet and shoulder pad thing going on, and then he comes in. He does kind of look like a gladiator because the way the light's reflecting off the shoulder pads and all that stuff is kind of cool. Because if you look at the movie, they kind of adopted almost like the same kind of idea. They kind of went with like an armor.
Yeah, like an Egyptian pharaoh thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Like in the comic book, he's got kind of like the robotic, cheesy, like tin arms and legs and the whole cowl piece. But in the movie, they kind of went with like a more believable kind of a situation. So,
which I think, I loved the way he looked in the movie. I thought that was perfect. And then in my movie, we just had to go with like a leather shoulder pads, leather chest. Unfortunately, I guess there's not really too many shots, but he has like a full leather waist, like a kilt almost kind of thing too.
Oh, cool.
Which I wish we could have gotten. There was actually a whole scene that is not in the movie that has that with it. That's another flashback. It's like a riot scene, and he wears that too. And shoulder pads is the band. And then for Night Owl, the point of that was at first we were going to give him like a custom-made kind of like almost like a Batman kind of costume, like he had, similar to the one I guess in the Watchmen movie that just came out.
Right.
But I thought that it'd be kind of more appropriate for, well, I guess my take on Night Owl was to look more kind of like a almost kind of like a homemade. You know what I mean? Kind of like a homemade.
I was going to say, kind of reminded me of like kind of almost like a Tick kind of a situation.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly.
Like it's cool looking, but at the same time, it's like, it looks like he just kind of like did that himself, but that's cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's like, yeah. Which added kind of more to
the real feel of it, kind of.
Yeah. That was intentionally to make it like, and even there's a few scenes where you can see the Under Armour symbol on it. And that was meant to kind of show you how he like, my character was not supposed to be this rich guy who's, like in the comic, his dad gave him money or whatever. He was literally just a guy who just wanted to fight, for justice, and he just made this makeshift costume.
Right. And I give you props because he's just coming out and saying, you know what, I did this and I did it my own way rather than just trying to cover it up. Like, oh shit, did you see that symbol in there? I hope I didn't cover up that bottom models or whatever sticker on the armor. You know what I mean? Oh shit, did you see that? That's cool though.
But yeah, thanks. There's a few things like that. And then the comedian, also very drastic change. The reason I did that is because I always kind of pictured. Well, I guess my version. I kind of liked more of a movie Punisher askew costume.
Right.
So that was basically the point of that. Like, he had the trench coat on in that one scene.
Right.
And then later on, he was just wearing the wife beater and the badge. So that was the point of him. I just never thought the comedian was just such a badass and such like a, fuck you, I don't care, I'm not going to wear your little costumes.
Exactly. He makes fun of everybody at the Crime Busters meeting. He's like, what the fuck is this? You got this guy dressed up like a giant owl, and he's like, what is this? He's coming from the jungles of Nam and all these other places, and
I totally agree. I never thought that the comedian. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the movie and the comic, he looks like really cool, but I just thought his personality, he's the kind of guy, he's like a Luke Cage Punisher guy. He wouldn't be wearing a costume. He'd just be wearing jeans and a shirt,
He'd be dishing out justice, wearing whatever. Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
So that's why I went with that route for him.
I'm assuming you just use, like, friends as far as your actors.
Well, yeah, I mean, I couldn't really afford, professional actors. So what I did was I asked my friends to play roles, but I wasn't, not to the point where I was like, hey, I want to play this role. Like, everyone, I did have like an audition process. Not, I wasn't, being a dick about it. It's like, oh, you suck, But,
you had Simon Cowell come in and do it for you.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
That's the worst Ozymandias I've ever seen. Get out of here. Garbage.
that'd be great. He'd be a perfect Ozymandias, actually. But I had my friends who I knew were actually, decent to okay actors, and for example, Tim Spears, who played Rorschach, his personality is just kind of bland and kind of boring. And I was like, you have to play Rorschach. You already kind of have his, no offense, you have that kind of personality. And
You're a blank slate, my friend. You're lame, dude. Come play Rorschach.
So, and he has a good, body, like the good frame for it, like the short kind of muscle. So I just, I told him that, I just think he'd be perfect for it. And so he, read the script and he was like, yeah, okay, this would be really fun. And so he really got into it and really enjoyed it. And then, my Anthony Capp, who played Ozymandias, I think he's a really good actor, and I thought he did a really good job playing that real cocky, real asshole version of Ozymandias. And I kind of got a laugh when he was up at the podium, he was speaking to everybody. He's like, yeah! He's like, I'm Ozymandias, yeah! Yeah, and like no one claps.
Rorschach. That's why we're here, isn't it? He needs to be stopped. He's an illegal vigilante, a murderer, an all-around ne'er-do-well. He is everything that I stand against. He is everything this nation stands against. The Anti-Vigilante Act. It's been put into place for your protection. I don't want to hear any of this anti-government crap about how we are abusing our power. We are not abusing our power. We have every right to come into your homes, to watch over you, to keep you safe. Rorschach is a terrorist, a murderer.
He's got to do like a Jerry Maguire,
Yeah. There's that part where he goes, let's get this show on the road, and like no one claps. There's no clapping or anything. Just to show, that he is kind of a prick.
And I noticed also kind of like a little thing I spotted, because I'm a big dork and a huge, gigantic fanboy. I noticed there's actually 2 Superman sightings in the film. You have one guy who's reading a Superman comic, and another you actually see a Christopher Reeve poster hanging on the wall. And I was going to say, was that on purpose? Are you a huge Superman fan?
Well, it was on purpose, but not because I'm a fan. I am a big Superman fan. That poster is actually in my room. But I love Superman, and Christopher Reeve to me is and always will be Superman.
There'll never be another. It doesn't matter. I'm a huge Tom Welling fan, but even if you put him in the same costume, he still couldn't fit his Phil's tights. It's not the same. Not the same. Like I said, I love Superman, and the reason that I have the Superman little Easter eggs in there is because was more so for the character of Ozymandias that I was going for. I'm not sure if anyone really picked up on this one. I'm sure you did. One of the kind of subplots in the movie was the rivalry between Dan and Ozymandias. Right.
And that was kind of going back to my original script I had, which was whereas Night Owl was more of a Batman and Ozymandias is more of a Superman. Even in the movie, I even kind of gave Ozymandias superpowers in the movie. He was basically kind of like a mix of Manhattan and Ozymandias, basically. In a couple of ways, and so the Superman little Superman nods were basically to show that he is that's like his character. He's like a Superman character, and that's all he wants to be is like the Superman. I have at one point in the movie Dan says he always wanted to be Superman, which was So there's a few reasons for that.
I was going to say throughout the film, I noticed kind of like you use a little bit kind of like. I guess like picked up soundtracks from other people, but then there are parts where you kind of hear it says almost like you did the score or somebody you knew did the score. Is that an all original score?
I heard like the Heroes was in there, the Heroes soundtrack, and then the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. It was in the first part.
And I picked up little Beatles in there too, actually.
Yeah. Well, I figured that this movie, in the first place, is not, I'm not going to make any money off this because, I don't own the copyright to these characters.
Yeah.
So what I figured, I figured, why not just use music that I don't own the copyright to anyway, since I'm not going to have to pay for it, since I'm not making money off the movie. So yeah, I just found different movie scores that I thought, had like, Good and Bad and the Ugly, Beatles even, that suited the scene or the editing transition or whatever. And the one I used the most was the Scanner Darkly soundtrack.
I never got around to seeing it. It's one of those movies I've always wanted to see, but never got around to seeing.
That's Scanner Darkly is one of my, I think it's my top 10 favorite movies of all time. And there's quite a lot of, I would say some pretty similar themes in my movie and that movie, as far as the government, and even like the look of it. There's that whole movie's rotoscoped,
Yeah.
And my movie kind of has an animated look to it. You could say,
it does.
So I thought that movie's music just was so haunting and kind of, I don't know, kind of like futuristic and haunting and just kind of like, technical, kind of technical.
It was kind of like, it reminded me kind of like a retro 80s. It was kind of like Blade Runner.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a retro 80s, but yet it's in the future kind of a thing.
So, yeah, totally. That's what,
And it definitely fits because, like as we know, the actual story, I don't know if you're going to be going within the timeline, but, it's in the 80s.
Mm-hmm,
like the majority of the story takes place in the 80s.
Uh-huh.
So that actually kind of fit very well with the film. And you also kept some other stuff in there, too, like the Hollywood version. You have, Rorschach, he killed that guy who cannibalized and killed the girl, by graphically basically caving his head in with a meat cleaver.
Yeah.
But, you kept with the real story, with the graphic novel, where he actually burns the guy's house, burns him alive in his own house.
Yeah.
And just sits in the street and watches him die.
Mm-hmm.
Hears him scream. So I mean that's great that you kept it, because I was really like, I liked the movie, but I said to myself, it would have been even cooler if he just did that. He let him die and burn alive, and he just sat in the street.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why I kept that in, because not only is that one of my favorite scenes or favorite parts of the entire book, but I just thought, I like you said, I think that really captures who Rorschach is more so. Like,
it tells you who he. It definitely let you inside his head with something like that.
Yeah.
You can sit in the street and hear a man burn alive and know you could save him and not do a goddamn thing about it.
Yeah, just watching it burn. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that's why, at first there was the due to budget, obviously, I was like, all right, maybe I could just, I guess I'll have him use the same knife he had to kill the dogs to kill him. And then I was like, I got that software for like, fire special effects. I was like, yes, I can do the fire scene now. I was so pumped. I mean, it was, I had to keep that scene in there the way it was.
You did a good job. You kept it kind of minimalist, but it worked.
Yeah, thanks.
Now, what'd you guys think of, I have not seen it, but the Watchmen as a whole compared to the graphic novel?
Oh, you haven't seen Watchmen yet?
No.
Oh, man.
I say it's its own.
So rude.
I see each thing is basically like its own kind of animal. Because you got the original work, which was we all kind of know and have all read. Mm-hmm. And the movie, it does a great job of capturing the feel of the book. But at the same time, it also takes a lot of liberties, especially the ending of the film.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that are just kind of like, well, we know how it ends, but let's just try and do our own little thing with it and see what happens,
Yeah.
And actually, I have a lot of friends who are bitching about it. I'm not going to give away the ending, no spoiler alerts.
Now, are these fanboy friends, or are these just like general moviegoers?
Yes and no.
Right.
Some of them are, but they've read the book, and they love the book. So obviously the ending is a little different. I'm not going to tell you how it ends, but it's kind of like a dramatic departure from the actual ending in the book. So that part, I really didn't even actually have a problem with that.
Yeah,
because I thought the rest of the movie was so fantastic, and all the cast was perfect. All the roles were filled perfectly, and it captured everything the Watchmen should be and is. Mm-hmm. So to me, that's the most important thing, and they did that. They managed to do that, and I would go as far as saying it might be probably one of the best comic book movies I've ever seen, easily. If not the best. I don't know if I'm going too far, but I'm just saying I've seen a lot of them, and that was actually, I think, one of the best, next to like Dark Knight and films like that. So I don't know if Nick agrees with me on that. Or
I totally agree. I saw the midnight showing, and I've seen it. I've seen it 4 times since then.
Wow. Jeez. Man likes his movies. He's mad with Donald Trump, too, on top of it.
Let me calculate how much that cost. Are these matinees or evening showings?
Well, I went to a few, noon showings, so it cuts back on the money. No, I loved it. I mean, I think the biggest thing for me was sitting there at that midnight showing, all my friends, and I mean, they all kind of know what it is just because of Fearful Symmetry, That was that's their only introduction to Watchmen. And so they were like, "Oh, I can't wait to see this. I can't wait to see, the characters that different actors play your characters in different, the same scenes." Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. And but all I was thinking about was just how I'm actually seeing Watchmen. I'm actually seeing this movie, and from that opening shot, that's just the yellow. Of that, just the yellow with all the, the legendary and WB, and then it zooms out of the badge. Oh God, I love
pimples.
Oh yeah, oh God, yeah. My heart was pounding. I was on the edge of my seat. My friends were telling me how they kept looking down at me. I was on the edge of my seat, with my hands up, I was a smile on my face.
Stop being such a fanboy, God.
Oh yeah, totally. I was the biggest fanboy. Oh my God, I truly love that movie. I'm not sure if it was a better movie than Dark Knight, which a lot of my friends are asking me.
Right.
I'm really torn because I love The Dark Knight. I mean, that's. But I don't know. I think maybe with a few more viewings, I'll be able to know. But
a few more viewings.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Fantastic. Both of them are fantastic. So I'm not taking steam out of any one of those.
Watchmen. That was one thing I was kind of worried about, which I guess unfortunately has kind of come true. That I was afraid that no one's going to like it or want to see it because they don't know what the hell Watchmen is. Because if it's not Batman, it's not the Justice League. It's just these people that no one's ever heard of.
Right. That were all based on basically Justice League characters.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so I was when I was with my friends, and as the weeks gone by, talking to people who've seen it, it's very, very much a love it or hate it movie from what I've heard. I've heard people say, "Oh, I hate it. What the hell was that? It was garbage." To people who, my best friend, he told me. After he saw that, and he never read the comic before. He knows about it from me telling him, and from Fearful Symmetry. But when he saw it, that was one of the greatest movies I've ever seen in my entire life. Yeah, I was like, oh, that's awesome. And he was like, I remember the whole ride home. He was just like, I can't believe a human being actually wrote in that movie. How is that possible that a human can write such a deep, complex,
Because Alan Moore isn't human.
Yeah, that's my thing.
Alan Moore is an odd man.
I don't think a lot of people got it because the drop-off rate for weekend number 2 was 68% or something. It really,
it did. It was kind of like a dramatic.
It'll make its money back with DVD sales and HBO and all that shit, but it wasn't the big numbers that I think that Warner Brothers was expecting to bring in.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know. I read this one thing that's pretty disappointing that said because of Watchmen's performance, they're not going to have any more rated R comic movies.
Yep, I read that as well.
That really disappoints me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I actually heard something about Dark Knight where when the DVD came out, they were going to add this footage that wasn't included in the film that would have made it an R-rated film, and they didn't do that.
What?
Yeah, I heard about that.
Not even for the DVD. That's bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. I was very disappointed. I got the double DVD, and I don't even know if it's the Blu-ray if they have it.
Got the double D?
Not in there, yeah.
I got the double DVD too, and I was very disappointed, but there was no features whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was actually Chris. I think it was actually Aaron Schoenke who was talking about that. I didn't remember this a long time ago.
Yeah,
and he's kind of got the insider's perspective because he's in Hollywood now.
Right.
So he actually heard this from the people. So it's kind of weird. I guess they kind of figured, hey, it's as good as it is, the way it is. So let's just kind of, I guess they just decided to leave it out. I don't know.
Well, yeah, fair enough, I guess. But
isn't Watchmen supposed to come out with a director's edition?
Yeah,
I don't know. You got the Black Freighter that just came out, which is a huge part of the movie, which actually wasn't included. Obviously, would have been 4 hours long if you included the Black, the Black Freighter in there and everything.
Oh, that reminds me of one the Bernie and Bernie scene. They kept the Bernie, where they hug at the end.
Right.
Which my brother in particular, his favorite part of the movie, of the book, I'm sorry, was at that scene where they hug each other. Because, the whole build-up throughout the entire book is this old man, this little kid talking, and, they don't realize, it's stuff like that, everyday life, people don't realize how much effect they have on each other, And in the book, when they hug each other and die at the end together, in arm in arm, it was a very moving, scene in the book. But in the movie, it was kind of like, oh, okay, who cares?
Yeah.
I don't mean who gives a shit? People are dead. But I mean, it was kind of like I think it would have meant more to maybe the average audience member, to see these two characters kind of talk and actually introduce themselves to the audience.
I was actually going to ask you another question as far as the cast is concerned. I noticed no Silk Spectre. I would say no Dr. Manhattan for obvious reasons.
Right.
You know what I mean? But, Silk Spectre. Why not a Silk Spectre?
Okay, well, all right. I really hate that character.
I'm also putting you like in an awkward spot. If I am, we could edit this out.
No. I don't know. I guess I might lose some. I might gain some more fanboy hatred. I just really hate that character.
Right.
And I don't know. I just didn't see how she fit. She fit in my movie, I guess I should say.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, in the original script, or not the original script. When I rewrote it to more, Watchmen, more Watchmen askew, I did add Laurie, and I had Dr. Manhattan in it as well. But I quickly, I don't know. I'm just so bad at writing women in the first place.
And you didn't have any friends with blue penises.
I didn't have any friends with blue penises. Well, not only that, the effect wouldn't have worked well because there's just been some.
Exactly, that's hard. I'd really like to see somebody do that on a minimal budget. That'd be impressive.
Yeah, I agree. But I don't know. I mean, Manhattan isn't in it, but kind of. There's elements of Manhattan. I mean, I have the Prophet Ray Logan. That new character I added, he's kind of taking place of Manhattan and Ozzy. Like, basically, I kind of took bits of Manhattan and Ozzy, and I gave them to two separate characters, See,
it's such a great body of work, The Watchmen, that you can actually take small excerpts from the book, small little stories within the story, and it can just take life all its own. You can't say that about too many other things. I mean, it's such a great piece of work. You can just take a little bite, and it could just go off and running by itself and be great without the rest of the story. There aren't too many other works of literature that are like that, Yeah. So you only take maybe 2 or 3 of the characters and make it work. You don't have to have, Flash and Green Lantern or Justice League. You could just have Batman, Superman, and, Wonder Woman. You don't have to have everybody else.
Oh, yeah.
So that's another great thing about the movie, and that's what I think one of the reasons your fan film worked, because you were just concentrating on a small, cluster within the story, and it's kind of like this focusing all the attention on that particular piece of the story.
Yeah.
Instead of like, we're almost in a nuclear war, and here's the Black Freighter, and have your friend wearing an eye patch going "Arr," and jumping around, and you don't have to do all that stuff. You just kind of kept your story, and it worked for me.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I don't know if Chris, if you feel the same way.
If you said it, I feel the same way.
I speak for both of us.
Oh, okay, cool.
God help us all. But yeah. Yeah, so I think overall you pulled it off.
Say, at least it wasn't a freaking Batman fan film, which I'm totally sick of.
Oh, my God.
That's Chris's only opinion. At least it wasn't a Batman fan film.
Now, here's my thing.
Sleep now.
Here's my gauge on fan films.
All right.
What I want to see in a fan film is something different. Different characters. I want to see the same themes over and over again, and this is who I try to gravitate to our show is people that are showing us something different. It might not be freaking Lawrence of Arabia, but it's something different. It's something that no one's attempted before. So that's exactly what you've done, and that's the kind of people that I like to bring to our show and talk to, and I think that's exactly what you've done. Not perfect. What fan film is
exactly,
but I think
what
it's a great
film is.
Right, exactly. But a great effort, a great film,
Oh, thank you.
So that's what I had to say.
My feelings exactly, Chris. You spoke for both of us. See, we shared the brain.
Yeah, it's scary. The brain cell, anyways.
I guess.
You got any other pieces of work coming out, or that you'd like to maybe plug right now? And then we got those film festivals coming up. You want to maybe talk about that?
Yeah, I got my one movie. It's called On the Road of Anxiety.
Okay.
It's about a guy who wakes up in an alley, and
that's Chris.
I only did that once.
Yeah, it's starring Chris, and he's all bloody and bruised up, and his suit's all torn up, and he's lost his memory. He has no idea what's going on, and he gets his phone, and he sees his one missed call, and he calls it, and he just basically the story is this guy has lost his memory, and instead of asking for help or telling people he's lost his memory, he runs into these different people who thinks he's someone else, and he just kind of plays along with it. and it leads him down an interesting road. And so that's my
like a Born Identity kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. So that's the one it's done actually. It's all done, and I have a few trailers on it on my my YouTube page, youtube.com/Tootalu Films, and that's the one I entered into my college's film festival.
Cool.
And then, like I mentioned earlier, I'm working on that Gotham, like the YouTube series.
Yeah.
That'll probably be like a monthly thing, you know. Probably maybe like a half an hour, maybe 20 minutes each.
Is that going to be shot in color, or?
That's probably going to be in color. I had played around with just black and white, but not the black and white and Fearful Symmetry, but you know what I mean, like the actual, you know.
Just like old school,
like
noir,
Casablanca,
black and white. Yeah,
exactly. We thought about that too, but I think maybe color might work better because I think I'm actually playing the Joker in this one.
Do your own thing, because there's a lot of people doing that, the Heath Ledger thing, and
God, I know.
That's blown up. That's like a bad rash right now.
Yeah, Nick, you better be original, damn it. We're going to come down hard on your ass.
Well, actually, to give you a little preview, if you guys seen There'll Be Blood, that's kind of what I'm actually.
You going to go for Daniel Day-Lewis?
That's what it's going to be kind of like. The guy has a cane, and it's going to be bent over. That's how I'm doing Joker. He's going to have.
That's a good thing to base it on. That was a fantastic performance.
Oh yeah. I guess if I want to give you a preview of it, I guess think that he's going to be a hunched over bastard, basically.
I mean, an otherwise maybe kind of a boring film a little bit. But he threw Daniel Day-Lewis in there, and he was just so like over the top that it just kind of like made you want to see what was going to happen next. What's he going to say now? What other outrageous thing is he going to say? You know?
Yeah.
And he was fantastic in that movie. So if you're going to go that route, that's definitely that's something to shoot for. All right, man. I'm all set. Questions, Chris. I don't know about you.
Nick has anything else to promote? Say, Tim.
No.
We're here for you.
Basically, just thank you guys very much for having me. I really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun. But yeah, thanks a lot.
Well, be a friend of the show, and as your Batman film comes out there,
we'll be here.
Hit us up,
hopefully.
And we'll talk again.
Oh, definitely. I would love to come back and do this again. It was a lot of fun.
It was.
All right, bro. Glad you had a good time, and everybody go out there and see this man's films. Go out and go to YouTube, see Fearful Symmetry, and check out the trailer for his new feature. Is it a feature film or?
It's a 20-minute short film. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, his new short film. It'll be all there on YouTube for Tootalu Films, right?
Yep.
All right.
All right. Excellent.
There it is. Well, thanks again, sir.
Oh, thank you guys very much.
Absolutely.
All right, buddy.
All right.
Peace out.
Take care.